Tencent is not just a social media and messaging app company. It also has a significant presence in the gaming, entertainment, e-commerce, and financial services industries. It owns popular games like League of Legends and Clash of Clans, and has investments in companies like Spotify and Snapchat. Tencent also has a stake in China's largest e-commerce platform, JD.com, and operates its own payment platform, WeChat Pay, which is widely used for transactions in China. In addition to its business ventures, Tencent is also involved in philanthropy and social responsibility initiatives, supporting education, environmental conservation, and disaster relief efforts. The company has also been at the forefront of technological innovation, investing in artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and other cutting-edge technologies. Overall, Tencent's reach and influence extend far beyond its home country of China, and its impact on the global economy and technology landscape cannot be understated. Facebook, PayPal, WhatsApp, Netflix, Google, Spotify, Uber, Yelp, Tinder, Zoom, YouTube, Deliveroo, Amazon, and many more are all available in one single app. It's incredibly convenient to have everything connected in one app and one profile. You can pay your bills, call your friends, and essentially live your entire life through it. However, it's concerning that one company has access to all your data, from your exact location to your entire bank history. The line between where Tencent ends and the Chinese government begins is blurry, giving the Chinese Communist Party access to all that information. WeChat is one of the most powerful surveillance tools ever created, scanning private messages and images for censorship. The Chinese government can even access deleted WeChat conversations without permission from the user. This level of surveillance is not unique to China, as we know from Snowden's leaks. China has truly elevated the situation. Amnesty International, a human rights organization, conducted a study on how messaging apps handle data. They found that Tencent was the worst offender, allegedly scoring 0 out of 100 for its data treatment due to transparency issues and potential backdoor access for the CCP. Tencent's unique position in China allows it to monopolize industries and eliminate competitors without regulatory interference, turning it into a tool for the Chinese government. The CCP even has members within Tencent, including party officials on the executive board, influencing decisions. For instance, during the COVID-19 outbreak, WeChat was used for population control. Tencent has also been ordered to align its games with Communist Party values. Tencent has integrated facial recognition technology into their games to limit kids' playtime to a maximum of 90 minutes per day. However, Tencent's vision goes beyond just gaming. They aim to connect people and everything. After establishing a monopoly in China, Tencent expanded globally, investing heavily in companies like Reddit, Tesla, Discord, Spotify, Snapchat, and Universal Music. Tencent is now involved with hundreds of companies outside China, making them the largest gaming company in the world with revenues surpassing all competitors. Despite operating in various industries, Tencent's gaming division alone is larger than Nintendo or EA. This dominance is due to their ownership of Riot Games, League of Legends, and Epic Games, Fortnite, as well as stakes in other popular game developers. In other sectors, Tencent's payment division rivals PayPal, with WeChat Pay processing over 1 billion transactions daily, more than Visa and MasterCard combined. They also have Tencent Music, a strong presence in esports, and are venturing into Hollywood movie production. In terms of revenue, Tencent Music generates around $400 million. Tencent's immense size and influence have only recently been recognized by the West. For example, Blizzard, a studio partially owned by Tencent, banned a gamer supporting democracy in Hong Kong. This raises concerns about China using Tencent to control decisions outside its borders. The NBA also faced backlash when Tencent stopped streaming Rockets matches after a tweet supporting Hong Kong. This shows how a Chinese company can impact free speech in the US. Some governments now view WeChat as a security threat. Trump even banned TikTok and WeChat from US app stores due to security concerns. Tencent's story can be seen as a business success or a tool for political influence. At one point, the company only had $1,000 in its bank account. The journey of how a group of friends turned their struggling startup into one of the world's largest companies is remarkable and filled with useful lessons and genius business strategies. What they have achieved is impressively impressive. There is definitely an argument that Tencent has been unfairly caught in the middle of a political storm that they didn't want any part of. On the other hand, Tencent is often surrounded by controversy, including their brutal monopolistic practices, blatant plagiarism, extreme censorship, and violations of privacy and freedom of speech. Accusations of poor working conditions and the fact that multiple countries now see it as a national security risk because of its close ties to the Chinese government. However, to just dismiss Tencent as a puppet of the CCP is unfair. In fact, right now the Chinese government is actively hurting Tencent's business and is responsible for wiping hundreds of billions of dollars off Tencent's valuation. The Tencent story has a lot of different pieces to it, with both good and bad, and several plot twists along the way. Tencent is one of the most fascinating business stories, influencing so much and yet so rarely discussed. Buckle up, because the story of Tencent is going to be a wild ride. Our next guest is the founder and CEO of Tencent, Pony Ma. However, this is his actual Chinese name, but since in English his surname translates to horse, he goes by the name Pony as a bit of a joke. The fact we don't usually hear much about Pony Ma or know much of his story is mostly by design. Tencent tries to walk the tightrope of keeping both China and the rest of the world happy, and since that's very difficult to balance, he opts to not speak out publicly much at all. It's better to just say nothing rather than cause controversy and headlines. The other reason we know so little about Pony is that, unlike his arch-nemesis Jack Ma, the founder of China's other dominant company Alibaba, Pony is introverted and simply doesn't like being in the spotlight. And this has always been the case. Growing up, Pony Ma was a quiet kid who mostly went unnoticed throughout his school years. The only time he did get much attention was when he hacked into his university's computers and got a reputation as a great coder. In fact, for his university thesis, he created a software program that could help forecast stock price movements. And this software was so useful that at age 22, he sold the program to the company he was interning at for a price of about 3 times his annual salary. By the time Pony graduated, during his college years, Pony witnessed the early stages of the internet, which, although primitive at the time, sparked his excitement for its potential. He began brainstorming business ideas to capitalize on this new technology. Despite being a talented and hardworking programmer, Pony's future business empire did not originate from his own revolutionary idea. The uncomfortable truth about Tencent is that it was founded by replicating someone else's concept, a strategy that has persisted throughout the company's history. Pony stumbled upon ICQ, an innovative internet chat platform in 1998, and along with 3 friends from school, launched a similar service tailored for the Chinese market. While cloning Western services was common in China, Tencent's chat product, named OICQ, was a blatant imitation of ICQ. Initially facing challenges, Tencent eventually succeeded by adapting their chat service to suit the Chinese market, setting them on the path to success. In the 90s, downloading chat programs was a slow process, but Tencent made sure their chat software had a much smaller file size, allowing for faster downloads. Unlike other chat software, Pony made it so that strangers could connect on OICQ, laying the early foundations of it becoming a social network. Initially, very few people knew OICQ existed, and Pony himself had to keep users company in the chat room. This was actually more of a side project for Tencent in the early days, but OICQ began to grow rapidly, becoming their only focus. However, there were 3 major issues: expensive servers, no monetization, and rapid user growth. Approximately 9 months after launching OICQ, Pony found a thick envelope in the mail from America. It was a letter from the lawyers of AOL, a major American company that owned the original ICQ chat software that Tencent had copied. The letter stated that they were suing Tencent for violating intellectual property laws and demanded that Tencent stop using the name OICQ immediately. At this point, OICQ had reached 1 million users and was growing rapidly. However, Tencent did not have the funds for a lawsuit as they were struggling financially. Most of the small Tencent team were doing freelance work on the side to cover the rising server costs, working long hours and becoming stressed. Eventually, Pony decided to try and sell the company. Despite the lack of revenue and legal issues, no one was interested in buying it. people doubted its sustainability. However, Pony discovered the concept of venture capital investors who were interested in companies with future potential, even if they were not profitable yet. He reached out to VC firms and secured a meeting with China's most well-known venture capital fund, IDG Capital. In his pitch, Pony used a unique approach of brutal honesty, stating that without funding, Tencent might not survive. Despite the uncertainty of how to make money from their chat software, Pony remained focused on delivering a valuable service to their users. Their dedication paid off as millions of Chinese people flocked to their platform, catching the attention of IDG Capital, who recognized Pony's honesty and down-to-earth nature. The investment from IDG Capital and another VC firm was a crucial lifeline for Tencent, preventing potential financial ruin and legal trouble. With the backing of these investors, Tencent was able to continue on their path of growth and success. While the future may still hold uncertainties for Pony and Tencent, their investors' support and their users' loyalty put them in a strong position to overcome any challenges. Despite the ups and downs, Pony's honesty and commitment to providing a valuable service have been essential to their success. Tencent adapted the original ICQ chat to better fit Chinese consumers and tried various monetization strategies, including banner ads, selling chat software to companies, and charging a membership fee. However, all of these failed, particularly the membership fee, which backfired horribly. After scrapping the subscription fee and making QQ completely free again, Tencent discovered a Korean website called sayclub.com and launched their own avatar feature inside QQ called QQ Show, allowing Chinese citizens to express themselves with personalized avatars for a small fee. This feature quickly became very popular due to the cheap microtransactions. Especially among younger users, your avatar was a clear indicator of your status. The feature was highly effective due to the increasing number of people using QQ as a dating app, adding strangers randomly and engaging in conversations. The avatar function allowed users to express their personality and, in some cases, showcase wealth by purchasing the most expensive avatar items. Eventually, Pony could finally relax a bit as QQ, a Tencent's chat software, started making money by selling virtual items. The platform quickly gained over 100 million users in China. Interestingly, Pony met his future wife through QQ after chatting with her for 3 months before meeting in person. When they first started chatting, she had no idea she was talking to the founder of the service. She even messaged him asking, "Who are you?" To which he replied, "I'm Penguin Dad," a nod to Tencent's mascot. She humorously responded, "I'm Penguin Mom," and their relationship blossomed from there. They got married 6 months after meeting in person. Unfortunately, Pony's happiness was short-lived as his company was about to face a formidable opponent, a $100 billion corporation with Microsoft's backing. In 2004, MSN, a chat service by Microsoft, entered the Chinese market as a competitor to Tencent's QQ. MSN's professional and streamlined chat service quickly attracted businesses and students, while QQ remained more casual. MSN's presence in offices in China began to eat into QQ's market share. Despite Microsoft's vast wealth and resources, Tencent had an advantage in decision-making speed and user-friendly features. Microsoft's decision to incorporate MSN Chat into MSN Live platform confused users as they had to visit a website to use the chat service. Despite having ample resources, MSN lost the battle to Tencent due to unnecessary extra steps. In reality, China was not a main priority for Microsoft, as they were focused on bigger battles elsewhere, like with Google in the US. On the other hand, Tencent had a singular focus which allowed them to emerge victorious. This win marked a crucial turning point for Tencent, propelling them to dominate the chat market in China with over 500 million users by late 2005. This dominance served as a springboard for Pony's vision of creating an integrated network of internet services. With the influx of cash from Naspers' $32 million investment, Pony was able to kickstart the next phase of his ambitious plan, setting the stage for even more remarkable developments. Tencent recognized the popularity of QQ among gamers who chatted with friends while playing. This led Tencent to venture into acquiring and developing games due to their large user base. Within a year of integrating games into QQ, Tencent saw a $50 million increase in annual revenue. Their rapid expansion in the gaming market was facilitated by being a Chinese company, benefiting from the restrictions imposed by the Great Firewall. By partnering with successful game developers from other countries, Tencent could adapt and distribute games to the Chinese market. generating significant profits without creating their own games. This strategy allowed Tencent to leverage their massive QQ user base and capitalize on the requirement for foreign companies to partner with local Chinese companies to enter the Chinese market. Tencent recognized their significant leverage and unfair advantage in negotiations, especially when it came to game developers seeking access to China's vast population. With their massive user base, Tencent was the ideal Chinese partner for such ventures. An example of Tencent's power can be seen in a story involving Zynga, an American video game developer, where negotiations with Tencent dragged on for months before sudden changes were made at the last minute during contract discussions. Tencent's strategy was to wear down their partners, but they also ventured into developing their own games, often replicating successful game concepts from elsewhere. One such example is QQ Speed, heavily inspired by Mario Karts. By capitalizing on proven game concepts and adapting them for the Chinese market, Tencent minimized risk and maximized profits. Recognizing the prevalence of digital piracy in China, Tencent shifted their focus to free-to-play games with in-game purchases, a strategy that proved highly lucrative. This innovative approach to monetization, including microtransactions, set Tencent apart as a trailblazer in the industry. As a result, Tencent's revenue soared, leading to a successful IPO in 2004 and enabling further expansion and growth. Tencent's culture enabled this, as most Chinese tech companies are infamous for their 996 schedule, working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. This includes unpaid overtime, which is illegal, but overlooked by the government as it helped build China's tech giants. His day at one of these giants began at 8 a.m. and was supposed to end at 8 p.m., but leaving early meant being labeled unprofessional. At Tencent, the culture was highly demanding, with internal meetings often extending past midnight. Tencent had a strict hiring process, believing that 5 dedicated players were more effective than a team of 50 who lacked commitment. Even one person lowering standards and not working hard could negatively impact team morale and drag down others. One key culture decision Pony made after the battle with Microsoft was to encourage everyone in the business to pitch new ideas and work on new projects. Instead of having a specific research and development division, innovation was expected from all employees. Tencent's workforce actively monitored the market for new apps and ideas to incorporate into QQ. Pony emphasized the importance of learning from the best examples rather than blindly innovating. Tencent gained a reputation as a copycat, but their access to millions of Chinese users allowed them to divert attention to new features, giving them a competitive advantage. QQ Doctor software was integrated into the popular QQ software, giving them a 40% market share in China. QQ fought back with a media campaign accusing Tencent of spying on its users. Tencent sued QQ, but it backfired in the court of public opinion. Tencent then made a bold move by informing users that QQ software was not compatible with QQ, forcing users to choose between the two. Ultimately, most users stuck with QQ, causing QQ to lose users. It was strikingly similar, yet another triumph for Tencent, showcasing how effortlessly they could introduce a new internet service and swiftly dominate the market. Headlines like "Tencent Empire Out of Control" began to surface, hinting at monopolistic practices by essentially prohibiting users from opting for a competitor's product. Surprisingly, the Chinese government remained uninvolved, content to watch Tencent's growth unfold. It wasn't until later that their motives became apparent. With no regulations hindering them, Tencent's revenue skyrocketed from $200 million to $2.9 billion between 2005 and 2010. Despite their continued expansion and leveraging of QQ's vast user base, Tencent eventually realized the need for a new strategy after attempting to solely rely on their existing methods. Tencent's approach shifted from direct competition to investment in Chinese companies. For instance, they invested $448 million for 36.5% of China's third-largest search engine and merged their own search product into it. This new strategy allowed Tencent to become a startup incubator, investing in businesses and building an ecosystem of connected companies to help them grow using its existing user base and infrastructure. Another example is when Tencent combined with China's second-largest online retailer JD.com. Tencent lacked expertise in e-commerce, so they decided to invest in one of the leading companies in the industry in exchange for equity. They planned to use their internet traffic experience and capital to support the success of the company they backed. This strategy made Tencent a kingmaker, as their support could ensure the success of a company. From Tencent's perspective, this approach reduced operational complexity and allowed them to focus on other aspects. As a result, Tencent became one of China's biggest investment companies, and QQ evolved into a portal for various internet services. Interestingly, the app that eventually surpassed QQ was also created by Tencent. 1. Tencent had already achieved success with QQ's desktop chat app, which had transformed into a website portal offering online games and other internet services. However, with the rise of mobile internet in 2010, many Chinese users were shifting towards smartphones instead of computers. Pony, feeling paranoid about potential competition, decided that Tencent needed to create a new startup internally to stay ahead. He formed 3 separate teams within Tencent to develop a new mobile messaging app, leading to internal competition between the teams and against Tencent's own desktop app, QQ. This competitive culture within Tencent, likened to a shark room where unborn sharks cannibalize each other in the womb, ensures that only the strongest concept survives. In this case, Tencent focused on creating a mobile chat app similar to WhatsApp and Kik, allowing users to send messages using Wi-Fi or mobile data. Interestingly, Tencent had attempted to purchase WhatsApp for $10 billion instead of creating a new app from scratch. However, due to Pony Ma's back surgery, the negotiations were delayed, allowing Mark Zuckerberg to swoop in and acquire WhatsApp for $19 billion. Despite this, the possibility of Tencent buying WhatsApp prompted Zuckerberg to close the deal quickly. After the WhatsApp deal fell through, Tencent decided to pursue their own chat apps and launched WeChat in January 2011. Although it was not an immediate hit, WeChat started to gain traction in China after the addition of the push-to-talk feature. This feature, which allowed users to easily record voice notes that were converted into text messages, was immediately popular. However, it was a feature that had been copied from another app called TalkBox. Tencent had initially offered to buy TalkBox, but when negotiations were ongoing, they replicated the app within WeChat and ultimately surpassed TalkBox with their superior resources. In later years, companies in China learned that an offer from Tencent was one that couldn't be refused, as they would either buy or copy and crush the competition. Pony Ma acknowledged this at a conference in China, stating that in America, there is usually a grace period before competition arises, but in China, there can be hundreds of competitors within hours of launching. He emphasized that execution, not ideas, is what matters in China. As a result, WeChat began to gain momentum in China. Tencent did not want to limit WeChat to just a chat application. Pony quickly realized the endless services that could be connected to WeChat, such as the Moments feature introduced by Within Reach Chat's app 1010. This feature was their version of Facebook or Instagram, offering a real-time social media feed of posts, images, and articles. Following the success of Moments, a blogging service called Public Accounts was added, allowing people to write articles that could be shared on Moments. Official accounts were also created for publishers to distribute content and businesses to distribute products and services. By 2012, WeChat had reached 100 million users, making it the fastest-growing social media platform in history, achieving this milestone in just 433 days since its launch in 2011. For context, it took Facebook around 5 years to reach the same number of users. A year later, in 2013, WeChat had reached 300 million users. The reason behind WeChat's eventual dominance in China was Tencent's strategy of continuously adding more features to the app. For instance, they introduced unique features like the drift bottle, where users could send messages to random people and make new friends or even find dates. This feature became quite popular, leading to genuine friendships and relationships among Chinese users. Additionally, Tencent created Friends Nearby for a similar purpose, resembling an early version of Tinder, which further fueled WeChat's growth. However, one of the most significant developments for WeChat was the introduction of the red packet function during the Lunar New Year. This feature allowed users to digitally send money to others, leading to the realization that mobile payments were the future. Consequently, Tencent launched WeChat Pay, a mobile payments platform that revolutionized the way people transferred money digitally. Eventually, WeChat's wallet feature became widely used not only for sending payments but also for making purchases in stores, making it a convenient alternative to carrying credit or debit cards. WeChat's integration of mobile payment in 2013 was a groundbreaking feature, especially in a country like China where smartphone usage was on the rise. By 2015, WeChat had surpassed 500 million users, and its introduction of mini programs in 2017 further solidified its position as a super app that dominates the lives of almost everyone in China. WeChat solidifies its position as the all-in-one app even before the creation of mini programs. With various services integrated into WeChat, such as payments, games, and dating features, users no longer require separate apps on their phones. For instance, China's leading ride-sharing platform, Didi, has its own mini program on WeChat. This means that users can book a taxi without needing a separate app. Similarly, there are mini programs for food delivery, parcel tracking, and more. To illustrate, imagine being a Chinese citizen meeting a friend for dinner. You can confirm plans, book a taxi, play games, browse news, share your location, access the restaurant's menu, post food photos, pay for the meal, and even book movie tickets all through WeChat. Tencent, the company behind WeChat, has essentially become the market gatekeeper as businesses need to partner with them to reach users. This partnership allows Tencent to levy a percentage of revenue generated through mini programs. This interconnected ecosystem reduces the need for external apps, making WeChat a central hub for various services. It's interesting to note that an all-in-one app like WeChat has been suggested outside of China. Elon Musk even talked about a super app similar to WeChat. Such an app would be really useful, but it was quickly shut down due to concerns about big tech and social media. Tencent has become a money machine because it doesn't need to rely heavily on advertising revenue. Instead, it makes money through microtransactions since it's involved in so many aspects of people's lives. The widespread use of WeChat in China is undeniable, with nearly everyone under the age of 70 utilizing it in some way. However, despite its dominance in China, WeChat's popularity outside the country is not as significant. While estimates suggest around 100 million users worldwide, this pales in comparison to the over 1 billion users within China. Most of WeChat's users outside China are either Chinese expats or individuals needing to connect with contacts in China. The limited global adoption of WeChat can be attributed to Tencent's complex relationship with the Chinese government, which hinders its expansion into other countries. To understand Tencent's current situation with the CCP, it's crucial to know its history. In 1979, China's leader chose Shenzhen as the first area to test his economic plans, allowing capitalist businesses to operate there. This move marked the start of China's rapid rise to global power. Shenzhen, often called China's Silicon Valley, is home to many tech giants, including Tencent. The Chinese government aimed to support local companies like Tencent, as long as they benefited the country. This approach allowed Tencent and others to grow without strict regulation, enhancing China's global influence. The CCP saw the success of these companies as a way to promote Chinese entrepreneurship and control the narrative worldwide. Tencent's access to vast data was valuable for government surveillance and censorship, and it even had a communication center that blocked accounts discussing sensitive issues like human rights abuses in Xinjiang. This led to threats from authorities, similar to the persecution during the Cultural Revolution. The app is essential in China, making it hard for users to leave, so the government is mostly okay with Tencent growing its power, even if it uses unfair methods. The Communist Party is cautious about Tencent's growing influence, which is why their relationship is complex. Tencent believes it must follow China's laws and can handle private information without asking users for permission, especially if the government wants it. They also have direct access to Tencent's product managers and can control what's said in groups. A rule in 2017 made group admins personally responsible for posts, leading to many groups being shut down. Tencent also shares data with China's social credit system, affecting people's rights and freedoms. Despite this, over 1 billion people choose to use WeChat, even though it means giving up their privacy and freedom of speech for its convenience. There's even a joke in China that ordering too much food on WeChat could lead to police tracking you, thinking you're hiding criminals. Tencent, founded by entrepreneurs aiming to build a successful business, became so popular that even the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, allowed it to operate under their control. Pony, the CEO, is pragmatic and understands the importance of maintaining government support. When asked about censorship, he supported the government's view that people should be free to express themselves, even though it's controversial. Pony is aware of the consequences of criticizing the CCP. which requires companies to provide data to the government. This includes having a special room for the Internet Security Police to monitor operations. Despite efforts, WeChat, owned by Tencent, hasn't gained as much popularity outside of China. This is despite having an English version and marketing campaigns with famous figures like Messi. WeChat is a popular app for connecting with friends and family, offering free voice and text messages. However, its appeal is limited internationally due to concerns about surveillance and censorship. Research shows that the Chinese government monitors and censors sensitive information, even from users outside China. This includes private group chats, where messages about sensitive topics like pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong were censored without users realizing it. This censorship is so strict that even if you're not in China, you can't avoid having your information shared with the Chinese government if they request it. This fear of surveillance and censorship is one of the main reasons why WeChat is not as popular outside of China. Another reason is that each country has different requirements, so WeChat needs to be customized for each one, which is a lot of work for the company. Additionally, focusing on China, which has a massive population of over 1.4 billion, makes sense for Tencent, as they already have a strong presence there. However, this strategy means they miss out on the opportunity to be the first to enter new markets, like the US, where they have to compete with established companies that have already built a strong user base. In China, once a business grows big enough, it often has to work with or sell to one of the top 3 companies. Alibaba and Tencent are examples of this. TikTok, despite being one of them, managed to avoid this by becoming a major advertiser on social media platforms like Facebook and Google, which ignored it until it was too late. TikTok then used its advertising power to attract hundreds of millions of users away from these platforms. However, when it became clear that short-form video content was popular, Western companies like Facebook and Google started their own video apps to compete. By that time, TikTok had already become very successful. Tencent, realizing TikTok's potential, quickly developed a similar app for WeChat and promoted it heavily. They also banned TikTok from advertising on their platforms and blocked any mention of TikTok. This strategy shows how Tencent used its market power to stay ahead. TikTok was known for its accurate content recommendations, thanks to its machine learning algorithm. This made it hard for users to switch to a cheaper, less personalized version. However, a rivalry between TikTok's founder, Pony Ma, and Tencent's founder, Zhang Yiming, began when Zhang criticized Tencent for copying TikTok's app. This led to a public feud, with Pony Ma defending TikTok's originality and Tencent's global dominance. Despite their usually calm personalities, the rivalry was intense. Pony Ma convened a meeting with top managers and employees at Tencent to strategize. This meeting, known as the Conference of the Gods, was crucial as it laid out plans for Tencent's dominance, and the decisions made there would impact not just China but the global stage. The primary goal was to identify Tencent's key competitive strengths and how to leverage them. The strategy was straightforward: leverage Tencent's massive traffic and financial resources to attract other businesses to launch their own programs through WeChat. This step would lead to further investment in the most successful programs, creating a cycle of growth and profitability. Tencent's advantage lay in its extensive data on user behavior, allowing it to identify and promote the most popular programs within WeChat, giving it an edge over competitors. This approach not only made Tencent's investments more profitable but also allowed it to diversify its operations beyond China, reducing its reliance on the Chinese government and expanding its global influence. Tencent has built a vast international portfolio by investing in major companies like Tesla, Reddit, and Discord. This has raised concerns about data access and influence by the Chinese government. Despite these worries, Tencent typically takes a hands-off approach in their investments. In the gaming industry, Tencent has become a dominant player, investing in popular titles such as League of Legends, Fortnite, and PUBG. However, their influence has sometimes led to unwanted changes in monetization strategies that fans criticize. Tencent's relationship with the Chinese government has been crucial to its success but also poses significant risks. In 2020, regulatory scrutiny increased, leading to fines and restrictions on new game approvals. This shift in government policy aims to curb the power of big tech companies and align their operations more closely with state objectives. Despite these challenges, Tencent remains a powerful company, adapting its strategies to maintain favor with the Chinese government. Looking ahead, their success will depend on navigating the balance between domestic regulations and international ambitions.